Hey, what's up guys? My name's Brian and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to start doing a welding series on this channel, and as I've said before to the people that's been here, I'm not a welder. So I'm going to learn this stick welding and other welding as we go along. Now I do know the basics of a lot of welding. When it comes to stick welding, I don't know that much about it, but what I'm going to do is just share my experience, and hopefully we can all learn from each other. I can learn from you, and maybe I could teach you something along the way as well. So if you're interested in that and other videos, including tool reviews, projects, tips, tricks, and more, consider subscribing below. But to begin this series, we're going to talk about what you need to be able to follow along with this series or to start in this series. The first thing you're going to need, obviously, is you're going to need a welder. What kind of welder do you need? Well, in my personal opinion, if you want to go further in welding, then you're going to need a multi-process machine. If you're just on a budget and want to start and want a stick welder, then you can just use a stick welder to follow along with this part. But in this series, I plan on going from stick, which we're going to learn, then we're going to go to flux core, MIG, and then ultimately to TIG. And we're going to learn the basics, and we're going to try to get good at welding. Now, I've reached out to a few people, including other YouTube channels, about some tips that they might give me to learn myself. And particularly, I reached out to Jason from Weld.com. And so hopefully I can learn something from them, teach you something, and learn something along the way. Now, I do pick up things pretty good, so I'm pretty sure I can pick this up. And hopefully you enjoy this series like I'm going to enjoy doing it. So to begin with, like I said, we're going to start with shielded metal arc welding, or just simply stick welding. And in this video, we're going to talk about safety. We're going to talk about some of the things you're going to need, and we're going to also talk about some of the things that you probably should get that you could need along the way. So the first thing is, with your stick welder, you can, if you only have 120 volt, then yes, you can do some stick welding, but you're going to be limited. Now, for instance, with this OMNIPRO, when you hook it up to a 120 outlet, you can only go up to 90 amps. So you're going to be limited into the type of rods that you can run when you're stick welding. So if you want my opinion, you can start off with a 110, 120 outlet, but you need to try to run you a 220 breaker or run you a 220 plug out to your garage or workstation, and then you'll be able to go further and be able to do more when you're welding. Now, the next thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a good welding table or a good place to do your welding. Now, I actually built this welding table specifically for this series, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll put it up top. It's not so much of a how-to video as it is just showing you what I did to go through to build this table. And you could build a table like this using nothing but flux core if you want it, because there's nothing here but some thin square tubing and some 3/16 metal for the top. And as you see here, I have these slots cut out in this table, and I did that for a reason, which we'll see as we start welding. So some of the things you're really going to need is you're going to need something like a wire brush. You're going to need a chipping hammer. You're going to need a welding helmet. You're really going to need a grinder. What kind of grinder? It doesn't really matter. Corded, cordless, but for everything that I talk about in this video and all the equipment that I use, whether it be accessories, grinder, helmet, gloves, whatever, I'm going to put a link down in the description, and you can go check that out and buy some of the things or get some ideas of what I'm using. And you're also going to need some welding gloves. Now, there's different types of welding gloves. You're going to have TIG or regular welding gloves. When you're stick welding, you're going to need some thicker gloves because it does get a little hot. Now, what I like to do personally, I like the thinner gloves because I like to be able to feel what I'm gripping. So what I always do is I just use a thin TIG glove for the hand that I hold the electrode holder or stinger in, and then I use a thicker glove for my left hand because that's the hand that's going to be closest to the heat in some cases. So that is just more comfortable to me. What is more comfortable to you is going to depend on you. You're going to learn as you start doing this, and as you go along, you're going to learn what feels best for you. For your grinder, you're really going to need, now there's some different things you can use here. to clean your metal. When you're stick welding, you really don't have to clean your metal depending on the rod you use, which we'll talk about rods a little more, but it's a good practice to get into just cleaning all your metal if you can every time you try to weld. So you're gonna need something like some flap discs, which there's different types of flap discs. There's different brands of flap discs. Some are better than others. Harbor Freight does have some pretty good consumables, so if you're there, they're reasonably priced. You can pick them up. You may also need some grinding discs and also a wire wheel or a wire cup. And there's also some other things like resin pads, but if you use these resin pads, they will clean mill scale off pretty good, but you're gonna need a backing pad. You can get away without a backing pad, and I could show you how maybe later on, but these are cheap. So you can go ahead and buy this if you wanna use those. But if you really just wanna get the bare essentials, then try to just get some flap discs and maybe try to get a wire wheel. You don't necessarily need the wire wheel, but I would at least get the flap disc because you can get away with just using this brush. Now, when it comes to welding helmets, this is a Lincoln Viking helmet, and this has a pretty big viewing area that you can see your weld pretty good, and the colors of it are pretty nice as well. It does give you a pretty clear view. You can use any welding helmet you want though. Some are gonna be better than others. For instance, if you're using something like this, the viewing area is really small. You have to use it. You can look through and then flip down when you're starting to weld. But I like the auto darkening helmets because you can get a better idea of what you're looking at before you start welding, especially when you're new, because once you flip this down, until you strike that arc, you can't see what's going on. And you should really get a welding hat. You can use a regular hat, but you should have something covering your head because you could burn your scalp pretty easy. So these are pretty cheap. You can find you a decent one and at least protect yourself in that way. Another thing you could possibly need and probably should have is either a welding jacket, which I don't have, but what I do have is some FR sleeves, and I use these for cutting or for welding, because when you're striking this arc, you can get burnt, and you can also get a pretty good sunburn. So you can just throw these on, and these work pretty good, just like that. Now, the clothes you wear as well, you want to wear just some cotton clothes with jeans and boots, because you can and probably will at some point catch yourself on fire. I've caught myself on fire quite a few times. Now, I've wore jogging pants when cutting, when welding, anything, and I've caught myself on fire a number of times. Another thing I've wore is the nylon t-shirts. They will melt, and I've had them melt to me. So really think about safety, because this is dangerous. You're messing with fire. So when you start welding, you need to make sure that your surroundings are clear from any type of rags, any type of paper, no gas cans around, because these sparks, as we'll see, they will fly and they could cause a fire. So really be conscious about safety when you're doing this. And another thing you're really gonna need is you're gonna need some clamps. Whether welding clamps like this, some F clamps like this, some regular C clamps, you're gonna need some type of clamps. Do you need that to start off? No, but these are relatively expensive, so you can go pick up a few of them, especially these. They sell these at Harbor Freight for $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, and you definitely should pick you up 2, 3, 4, or even 5 of these, because eventually you will need some clamps. And even with what we're doing now, I'm going to be using clamps. It makes it a lot easier, as we'll see once we start stick welding, because your stick, especially when you're first starting and you start trying to strike that arc, your stick will stick. So it's nice to have your workpiece clamped down so you're not dragging it back up with you as your stick. And you're gonna need some sticks. Now, this is gonna be an expensive hobby. If you're really wanting to do this, you're gonna spend some money doing this, especially once we get past stick welding. Now, I can get a 10-pound box of sticks at Harbor Freight for around $20, $25, $30. I can't remember the exact price, and that will last a long time. But once we start moving up to MIG, especially when we're using gas, we're not using flux core, we're using gas on our MIG with solid core wire, as we'll get into later. but you will go through that gas. And when you're just practicing, you're just using the gas to learn. So you will have to spend some money to be able to do this beyond just buying your welder and your other necessities, whether it be the helmet, FR sleeves, grinder, everything else. It's going to cost you money to learn how to weld. But in this video, we're going to be just learning how to strike an arc, and we're going to try to learn how to run a consistent straight bead, as consistent and straight as possible. We'll talk about what amps and everything to use, but the two rods that I'm going to use in this video is going to be a 70-18 1/8 inch rod and a 60-11 1/8 inch rod. Now, if you're running a 110 outlet, you might want to try to get some 60-13 rods, run those, and you don't need as many amps to run something like that, because as I spoke of, the max amps that this will run off of 110, 120 outlet is 90 amps. And we'll take a look at what it looks like when I try to run a 70-18 1/8 at 90 amps, and we'll see why you really need to run more amps with this particular rod. Now, when it comes to the 60-11 as well, I can run that at about 85, 90 amps, and I can still get a pretty decent bead. So if you're just starting out with the 110, 120 until you get a 220 plug, practice with your 60-13, your 60-11, and then once you're able to hook your 220 up, then you can start using other rods like the 70-18 1/8. But another reason I chose the 70-18 1/8 is because there's not as much movement. We can just drag the rod and we can get a good weld puddle. When we're using a 60-11, we're going to use more of a whipping motion to make the weld. Now, this particular machine, the Vulcan OMNIPRO, and I did do a video about why I chose this welder over some of the other welders. If you haven't seen that, I'll link that up top as well. You can go check that out after this video or whenever you want to check it out, if you want to check it out. But this welder will not run 60-10 rods. I do have some 60-10 rods, and we will, in another video, look at what happens when I try to run a 60-10 rod with this welder. Now, when you're stick welding as well, there is 3 different ways you can stick weld. You're going to have your DCEN, which is direct current electrode negative, DCEP, direct current electrode positive, or your AC, which is alternating current. Now, what does all that mean? That is just the direction and how your electricity flows from your welder back to your welder. Because all you're essentially doing when you're welding is you're going to have a ground clamp, and we're going to create a short, which is going to create an arc, which is going to melt steel, and it's going to fuse the two metals together using the steel from the rod and the material that you're welding. So when you're welding using DCEP, which is what this welder does, it's just creating this short and creating the arc, and as I move along, it's leaving some filler metal and penetrating into the material that I'm welding to. When you're welding with alternating current, it's a different way the electricity flows. Now, there are certain times that alternating current can help you when it comes to arc blow, but we're just going to be doing basic stick welding here, so we're not going to get much into that. But just know that there are different types of electrical current that you can use when you're stick welding. Now, let's talk about these rods a little more and what the numbers mean on the rods. First, you're going to have E, which means an electrode stick. Then you're going to have your first 2 numbers or 3 numbers, which is your tensile strength of your rod. For instance, the 60-10 rod, the 60 is the tensile strength of the rod, meaning that it has a tensile strength of 60,000 pounds per square inch. Then your next number is going to be your position that the rod can be used in. Then you have your last number, which is the flux makeup in the rod, and determines whether it can be used DC positive, DC negative, or on AC. And we'll talk more about that as we get along in welding and as I learn more about it myself. As I said, I'm just learning this as I go along, and I'm teaching you what I learn as I go along. So now I know that this video may be boring to a lot of people, but I think these are things that I wanted to know myself, and I think it's things that you need to know. But we're going to get into some welding now.